Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, where we care about your mental health and well-being. I am Coach Rice, your host, and I want you to make sure that you tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, where I have my special guest on to talk about real issues that matter. And I want you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook Live, my business Facebook page, also on the Be Awesome Network. Stay tuned. I think you're going to really like this next guest.
Welcome to Mondays with Coach Rice. It's a brand new week, the sun's shining bright, a chance to cast your net, step into the light. Life's full of challenges, it's a winding stream, but with Coach Rice, you'll find your dream.
Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, where we care about your mental health and well-being. I am your host, Coach Rice, and with me today, I have a special friend, Gina Kroezen, who is a health stylist, amazing woman who has her own network called The Bigger Picture. But I want her to tell us all about her. So, Gina, tell us where you're from and how did you embark upon this journey around health?
Thank you for having me, Martha. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm from Amsterdam. I'm living in Holland and a health stylist. How did I get here? That's a very long story. I struggled with my health since I was born. Actually, I was a premature baby. So that was already something that was hindering me when I was growing up. And then at the age of 8, traumatic events started to happen at house. My mom left the family, and so my health got compromised by all the trauma that happened. And by the age of 31, I was so sick of all the trauma, and all the doctors always said, like, it's like something you need to learn to live with, and all that kind of things. And then I nearly died of a viral infection on my lungs at the age of 31. And that was for me the moment that I wanted to pivot and find out what is really going on with me. And then it seemed to be that was PTSD. And I had an ACE score of 8. So it was actually nothing physical, but it was the stacked up trauma that was compromising my health because of all the stress that was going on in my body. And so I started studying again, and I kept on studying, and I kept on studying. And it's like ever that I can remember, I was studying. So every time something happened, like a lot of women become boss babes when they leave the relationship. I did it every time I made the next level in my life, and I started studying again. So I studied everything that I went through myself.
Wow. How did this, you went on this journey. How did it affect your mental health?
Yeah, when I was young, that was very, very hard because when I was growing up, there was always this time before my mom left and after my mom left. So till the age of 8, I was a very fierce girl. I was like 9 months apart from my brother. So my mom was actually not very connected with me. She was not prepared to have a second child in a short time. But that's a different story. So, and after the divorce, after my mom left, she really abandoned us for another man. So that was a roller coaster that I got on. First, my mom left just one night, the door slammed, mom was gone. So my brother and I were with my dad, and my dad did not tell us until I asked him what happened. And then 2 weeks later, I came home from school with my brother, and then my dad's car was fully packed. So my dad was about to leave. And that changed a lot, because after 2 weeks later, my mom's new boyfriend came in the house, and he was this violent, narcissistic psychopath. So, and after that, a lot of mental, emotional damage has been done. So I developed an eating disorder on a very young age. And I got all kinds of mental health related to physical health issues. So that's why the doctors always said it's something that's between your ears, or you need to learn to live with it. But when I got older, my body had so much damage from like being this strong girl, and because I was really like very stubborn and also determined to get a better life than I was in. So I was a really bad overachiever, always studying, always working. And I got very introverted. I was very shy at a certain age, um, and I did just my best, but nobody actually knew what was going on. Yeah, I was full of
Isn't
shame.
it interesting? Isn't it interesting how we go through such traumatic events and no one knows what's happening because we don't say anything,
Yeah,
and the shame piece, it keeps us in bondage. How did you get out of the like that thought of like no more shame? How did you get out of that?
that took me quite some years because there's also that other part. It's the loyalty part, and it's still till this day when I share this story. I always say it to myself, I'm sorry, mom, or sorry, dad, that I'm sharing this because if they knew better, they did better. My mom and dad were very young when they got married and they got children. My mom was 20. In that same year, she gave birth to two children. So for me, this shame is also linked to a lot of loyalty. It's like, um, and that I needed to make separate. And when I did that, the shame got lesser and lesser, but it's still like I think maybe till 15 years ago was still a huge part of my life.
I like how you mentioned the loyalty piece because you never put shame with loyalty most of the time. But to separate those pieces is very important because, number one, shame keeps us hiding. And but loyalty also keeps us hidden because we trying to protect the people that we love. It's interesting how they link together in one way, but different in the other. So I like how you put that together because, and then separated because it's so key to separate it so you can disconnect from it, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. Because there came a stage in my life that I decided, like after that I nearly died of that viral infection because there was more things going on, and when you grow up in a certain way, because there's a very very huge story of a lot of things that I can mention. But the fact is that if you grow up in that environment, it's not just your own family, like your father and your mother, but it's the whole family system that is not working right. And for
Right.
me, that was the biggest shame of all because I never fitted in because I was this premature baby that ruined the peace and was like disturbing everything, not consciously, and it was something that grew in the roots of the family. So for me, it was like I needed to adapt. I needed to stay small. I needed to be okay with the place that I had. And so I got more and more ashamed of shrinking also because every time I made a step out of that, then it backfired. Whether it was with choices with friends or with when you start dating for the first time when you're a young girl, I was also ashamed of having a boyfriend. So for me, it took ages to really have a real boyfriend. So all these things stacked up until I think mid-20s. And then I got a hang of it. Like, okay, I need to say goodbye to this. But even then, it did not work until that day that I woke up. Oh, I'm still living. I'm still here. And then I also said to my mom afterwards when she come to visit me because I was like sick and nobody was actually there to help me. Um, I said, listen, I'm going to move to Amsterdam. That was a few years later. I have my boundaries set. If you come over, you are welcome. But literally, I said, your shit you can leave at the house. You can come for having a nice time, but all the other things, I don't open the door for that anymore. So that's the way I addressed it. Yeah.
Good for you. Boundaries are so key. So tell us, how has this shaped you for the bigger picture?
Yeah, looking at the bigger picture, of course, that what I just shared is of course part of my bigger picture. People just see you for the way you look, what you achieve in life, and you also know you're a high achiever, overachiever. You make sure that you look good. You pay attention to whatever it is that you need to feel good, and people have this image of you, but never see the bigger picture. They don't know what here happened. And when you start to expose yourself more, there is a group of people that love you more because you're more honest. But you will also lose a group of people. They will say, "Oh, that's not for me," and that's okay, because that's the way you make a shift in the people that belong in your circle. And I think that a lot of people are struggling with that piece of honesty, sharing who you really are, sharing what we have gone through, asking for help, choosing their own direction in whether it's food and eating habits. It's for a major group of people. It's a hard thing to do because everybody is doing it like this. I don't want to be the loner and stand there with another plate with different foods because people will see that, you know. And that's just as an example of looking at the bigger picture.
Yes.
And why do you make the choices that you made and so on. So yeah.
And I really like how you mentioned that we often don't want to stand out. We want to actually fit in when we don't fit in. And standing out is powerful. That's powerful because if you really, really are in a position to help someone, standing out is powerful because you're not going along with the flow of a crowd. It also helps you stand out as a leader. And so tell the audience more about the bigger picture.
Well, the bigger picture is where holistic health, personal growth, and empowerment come together. So it's actually for bold change makers. That's what I like to address. People who want to make a bold pivot in their life and don't know where or how to start, but also for bold change makers who already did it and can guide other people or inspire other people or empower other people to make a bold change. So that's actually what it's all about. And that's holistic health. I guide people myself from from traumatized health to holistic bliss. But if you don't address the personal growth in there and the empowerment, then you're just trying to eat healthy, balance your weight, and all these things. But if you don't address your growth in that as well, because if you feel better, you want to do better, and you give yourself more freedom to become that better person. It's like my own journey. If I was stuck in my hometown, then I was just this little hometown girl who just worked at a regular job, and I wouldn't have exposed myself like I do now, So my life would have been very different. But by moving to Amsterdam, I got in touch with a lot of high valued people, with business people who taught me so many new things that I never heard of, from just socializing with richer people, connecting with other people. Like, for me, it was a whole new world that opened up, and that made me so rich. And that's also something that I want to give to people.
And I see you giving it every day. Every day on your network, you are interviewing people and serving all day on social media. What do you have coming up that's exciting for the bigger picture?
The bigger picture, I'll be hosting events soon, in a short time, because my group is growing so fast. And I was actually planning it next month, but I will attempt to do this before next month. So for the end of July, I will do my first meet and greet, and then
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I see you have a lot of it. That's exciting. And I see you growing. I saw your group grow so fast. It's amazing. And I've been interviewed in your group, and I think you do an amazing job interviewing. And I love it. I love what you're doing. I love how you serve in the community that you have. And I'm so grateful to have you on my podcast. And so with you're a health stylist. What are some of the things that you do to help your clients?
People come to me, it's mostly with a surface face level question like weight or headaches or tiredness, whatever. I'm actually a holistic coach. I do gut health, functional medicine, hormone health, all these things, but also a part is stress counseling and addressing a traumatic grief or something like that, something that has to do with trauma. I'm not a trauma therapist, so if there is a recent trauma, I will always work together with another therapist. But if something comes up that I can address myself, then of course I will do that. And in the same time, we work on the physical parts. So it's not just making your gut healthier and your hormones in balance and so on, but you also work on what is the root cause of it. Because in my experience and the way I address it, you need to focus on the root cause, and that's 99% chronic stress, trauma, or other related stressors.
And I definitely can see how that is, because what you ultimately saying is that your gut health could be related to your trauma as well, the trauma in your life.
It is
And
related.
also it is related, okay. And so, and I can kind of see that because I see people go through like heart issues, and when you find out some of the background of what they do and where they come from, you find out that they really lost like a child, or they really went through a lot of trauma that they held in for so long, and now all of a sudden they got these heart problems that they're dealing with, as well as trauma from, I mean, just the way they eat and the way they process food.
Yeah,
Seem like it has there's a correlation. Am I correct?
I try to explain it to people. If you're stressed, the first thing that happens is that your digestion gets compromised. So, and cortisol levels go up, other processes go down, your body barriers go open. So all these processes are going on. So if you're 24/7 stressed and you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, or you can digest well because of the stress, so you get nutrient absorption will not take place, and you get malabsorption and all the other things that eventually will happen in the long run. It's not weird that people get sick, and it's not something that's between the ears. There's really something physiologically happening inside your body when stress occurs. Because of the cortisol response in your body, your nervous system is signaling to your immune system, and your immune system is signaling with your organs, and it's all like communicating the whole day.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that and explaining that, because that is so true. I noticed that in my own self before, like when I was dealing with some stress, I noticed my immune system was compromised. I ended up getting sick.
Yeah, that's what
And I
happens.
was like, wow, that's interesting how that there is a correlation, and our bodies talk to us, right?
Absolutely. There
And
is
so
absolutely a communication with your body, and it's not uncommon. And it's also like if you're like a stressed person, like you're annoyed by everything that happens all day, like you have I don't know how to call it in English. If you're burned easily by things that happening outside, like people are constantly angry, whatever it is, their blood pressure go up, their cortisol goes up. So those people are also like more tending to get sick because their emotional responses and are not in control.
who is your ideal client on a regular basis? Like
Well,
the age group, or
I love to work with men and women, and the age group is for me like also very diverse from mid 20s to 60 plus. But I really love to encourage and empower people who are younger, who started in the beginning of their lives, like 30 plus, who are in this big shift and this big moment like marriage or whatever it is, and they finally get stuck. Like, is this the right decision? And feel all these pressure from the outside world. I have to do it like this, or I love to work with that age group, but I also love to work with older people, not the younger people. That's yeah. I don't. It's not that I
so
don't.
what do you
Do that. Don't get me wrong.
Right, I know what you mean because I do 18 and up, definitely, and some people do 18 and under, and so we all have our group that we work with.
I get,
So
I get emotional too involved with young people.
that's why I didn't either because it's too much. It pulls on my emotions too much. I've been there. I counsel kids, and it really is heartbreaking. It's too much.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'd rather not do that age group, but I love them. That's why I hurt so bad. But
Yeah.
so tell us, like, what is your onboarding process?
Well, people can just send me a message and I will have an exploration chat with them and see where they are at the moment and where they want to go and what do they need and what are the steps they are willing to take because certain people just want a food advice or some advice for their gut and I don't like quick fixes or one size fits all programs. So if people really want my help, I really love to dive in with them and address all the layers. So and that's why I do an exploration chat. We do an inventory, and then we see what the next step will be if they're willing to do it or not.
I like your client-centered approach because we so complex. It's not a one size fit all. I like that. Love what you're doing.
Thank you.
And can you tell the audience how can they reach you?
They can connect with me on my Facebook page. They can, of course, come to my Facebook group. They can also have a member spotlight interview if they would like to share their story or their services, whatever it is that they want to do. And they can send me a DM in Messenger. So.
Well, Gina, thank you so much for coming on. And before you leave, what will be one piece of advice you want to leave the audience?
It's only one thing that I always say. If something feels off, it probably is. So follow your gut and ask for help. And if somebody can't help you, they will probably know somebody who can. So always ask for help.
Well, thank you so much for joining me and on my podcast. I am so blessed to have you. I love chatting with you. I can chat with you all day and hold you up. No. But I'm not going to do that. But to the audience, thank you so much for listening. And if you feel that this was very helpful and you know someone who needs help in the area of their gut health or who wants to tell their story on a bigger picture, because I promise you, the interview is amazing. The love that you feel from her, you will definitely feel it. And I just want you to reach out to her. I will put the links in the video, and I promise you, you won't regret it. But I would like for you to share it, subscribe, and even comment. But until then, you have a happy Monday, and thank you for listening.
It's your time to shine. Your journey to chart. With Coach Rice wisdom will heal every heart. So join us now. Let's make life suffice. Welcome to Mondays with Coach Rice.